It's deadline day for Obamacare, the last day to sign up so you can spend your money on the Affordable Care Act. But are you actually covered? All the latest developments and the answers you need right here, because you know that even when they say it's not, it's always about money. And as some are saying, it's anything but the Affordable Care Act. More last-minute changes could mean even more money out of your pocket. And right now, consumers, myself included, we are totally confused. We need to know what it's going to cost, what we can get, and whether or not we're even covered. Here to lay it all out so you can enjoy a little peace over the holidays, our National Review columnist, John Fun, radio talk show host and Fox News contributor, Monica Crowley, and insurance executive, Ben Hanback. And thank you all for joining us. Ben, let me start with you. You were at the White House last week with business leaders, insurance industry people. What is the administration doing to it's so complicated, make sense of this? A lot of us are just lost.
Yeah, I was at the White House last Wednesday with about 50 business leaders, and the overwhelming feeling from everyone in the room was the confusion and then the cost that this is going to either cost individuals or their companies. And I can tell you this, that the administration, the first word out of their mouth was this rollout has been a disaster, and they're doing everything possible to try to get things fixed as quickly as they can.
Okay, so John, let me start with you. If the administration is calling the rollout a disaster, where do we go from there? Titanicville? How do you fix this? Or they're not going to scrap it. So I was about to say, or do you scrap it? They're not going to do that.
Well, they're basically delaying it on the installment plan. They do have a plan. They don't want to admit, for reasons I think of politics and I think humiliation, they don't want to admit they're delaying it. But piece by piece, everyone is going to be called a hardship case, and no one is going to have to pay the penalty. It's inevitable.
So Monica Crowley likes to talk power, truth to authority. And I was thinking when we were going to be talking about this, sarcastically, glorious leader actually bequeathed to everybody a delay. And when I heard that there was going to be a delay, I thought, what are the mandates now? Who has to sign up? Who doesn't? How does anyone, the insurance companies have to pay for this? How can anyone make heads or tails of this?
Yeah, and nobody can. I'm not sure that even the White House knows what's going on. The insurance companies don't know what's going on. Doctors, I just spoke to 2 doctors last week. They don't know what's going on. Certainly the consumers don't. This is the 15th, I believe, unilateral change that Barack Obama has made, his administration has made to this law without congressional approval. Is any of this even legal? We don't know. But here's the bigger picture. We're all correct to say that this thing it was always a Frankenstein bill. Now it's even more of a patchwork and Frankenstein bill. They're making these ad hoc arbitrary changes sort of on the fly. But I think we can all agree that it's sort of imploding on itself. But what I think they're actually doing, you're kind of seeing a controlled explosion here, because the ultimate objective was always to get us to single payer, full-on socialized medicine. There are things that I think are happening beyond their control, or maybe not on the timetable that they anticipated. But I guarantee you that what they will say is, we tried the private sector, we tried going through the private insurers, we tried going through the exchanges, it didn't work. Now we have all these people sort of locked into the system. We can't let them down, so there's only one way to go, and that's single payer.
Ben, I want to ask you a question. I think the administration has done something no American could ever do, which is make people actually feel sorry for the insurance industry, because at the end of the day, if you don't get, especially the young people and the healthy people, signing up to help pay for this, it can't work, and the insurance companies take a hit. Eventually, those of us who are customers right now of insurance companies, we will take a hit, will we not?
Yeah, that's a great point. Just a couple things on that point is, number one, we're expecting some of the largest increases for small group insurance plans in the coming year in 2014. And then let me tell you what we're going to be talking about in about 2 weeks, is that all these individuals that are enrolling Obamacare, they enroll through the healthcare.gov, but they pay their first month's premium to the insurance company. And what's going to happen on January 1st, and consumers out there need to be aware, is that the first time they get a prescription filled, the first time they try to go to the doctor or take their family to the doctor, I think that's where they're going to run into the problem, because maybe they haven't paid that first month's premium. And 2 weeks from now, we're all going to be talking about all these individuals that have enrolled and are having problems now accessing care.
John, do you think given what Ben just said and what Monica talked about is perhaps the grander strategy for single payer down the road, is that where this is headed?
No, because I don't think Congress would go there because obviously single payer doesn't work in Britain and it doesn't work in a lot of other countries. I think what they are going to do is stuff the mouths of the insurance companies with cash. There's something called risk channels, and this basically subsidizes insurance companies for some of their transition costs. Without going to Congress, I think they're going to take several $billion early next year and basically say to the insurance companies, look, treat these people, enroll these people, we'll work it out
Can they do that
later.
legally? I mean, I realize they keep changing the rules.
The courts will tell you in 3 years.
Right.
They're very short-term oriented right here. If the courts catch up with them and say it's unconstitutional, the money will already have been spent. Catch me if you can.
Yeah, and that's the point. I mean, I agree with you to a certain extent, John, but not wholly. I mean, they have done everything out of the box, extra constitutionally, without congressional approval. There's nothing stopping this administration from gradually or maybe even quickly moving us to single payer outside of Congress.
The way they would do it is they would simply say to people, you know, you're enrolled, and unless there's absolute proof you're not, you're on Medicaid. And in other words, they can just, I will not put anything past them.
Ben, I think that the numbers, and I was getting confused, as often happens when you're me, during the press conference last week when the president was talking about the different numbers. You have 1 million people enrolled, 3.9 million is it, who are now part of Medicaid. But at the end of the day, I was looking at what my employer is paying for my insurance. I don't see that coming down. It's several thousands of dollars. I contribute, but 21st Century Fox contributes a much larger portion. None of the Affordable Care Act has brought that down, and that's not going to change, is it?
No, that's, again, like I said, we're expecting some of the largest increases, higher deductibles, the narrower networks, and I truly think the access to care after January 1st, or just those individuals that are caught up in that eligibility mix, you know, on trying to enroll in the system is what we're going to be talking about.
And because I'm partial to Monica Crowley, last word on all of this. This is going to blow up in January in the administration's face, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if the administration looks at 2013 and thinks that this was a bad year because it was so focused on Obamacare and all of the failures we've seen so far, 2014 is going to be much worse. Ben was talking about employer-based coverage. That's going to be the next wave of this. So in January, you're going to see people who think they were covered, who aren't actually covered, and then the wave after that will be perhaps tens of millions of people losing their employer-based coverage.
All right, well, this is a discussion that's going to continue well into 2014. Monica Crowley, thank you. John Fund, thank you as well. And Ben Hanback, all the best to you on this holiday. Up next,
Happy
1 in
holidays.
5 people still have not